Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
First time you're on the show or first time on a podcast? Or
On this podcast, yeah.
you've done several podcasts before?
Yes.
Talking about Mitrex?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've done energy generations, projects, in the past.
For a split second there, I thought I was feeling special being the first one.
Everybody wants to be the first one.
No.
Nobody wants to be
there's
second.
plenty of people that I don't even look at my show that way. But welcome. I was eager about having this conversation, and I'm glad that you brought Jeff along because you've got you guys who are handling, I guess, the product, and then you've got Jeff, you're seeing the product that's going to be implemented on a real life job site. And that's what we want to get into, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So we've got Daniel. I don't want to try to pronounce your last name. How do you pronounce it again?
Hadizadeh.
What's your background?
Iranian.
Okay. All right. No, I just don't want to butcher it, right?
Sorry, I'm Persian.
You know what? It's true. And Jeff Miller is here. So, Jeff, you're from the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. You're the Director of Facility Management Capital Project.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then you want to name the project here to tell me the project that we're going to be talking about a little
We're
bit?
talking about the Miren and Berna Garen Health Sciences Complex.
Okay. And then, Daniel, you're the CEO of Mitrex, www.mitrex.com. It's Mitrex.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. And then you can reach them at info@mitrex.com, and their phone number is 416-907-4277. What's the one sentence that describes Mitrex and the product?
Mitrex is about energy generating building materials. Any form of building material that's not just for construction also give us energy.
And how old is Mitrex right now?
As a product is about 5 years. We started building the factory 5 years ago.
Here in Canada?
Here in Canada.
Yeah.
We launched we made the first piece about 3 years ago. We were building the factory during COVID and then we finished it. But the company has been around for 20 years. We have been manufacturing other construction materials.
So, can you please try to describe, because when I was first told about it, it's energy absorbing cladding. Right? So any types of cladding or different types of material that's being used, but it's the science, I guess, behind it.
Yeah, the idea is photovoltaic or semiconductors, they can convert sunlight into electricity. Now, if you can infuse them into construction materials, now you have a hybrid product. Now you have a product that can produce electricity and act as your building material. It could be roofing, it could be cladding, it could be windows. Anywhere that you have sunshine, or we have the photons that are coming. But that's just product number one. So we are in the earliest stages of our large and grand vision for the next few years.
What are some of the projects? We'll eventually get to how you guys got partnered with U of T. Some of the current projects that were built here, I thought there were some in Toronto already.
Yeah, we have several residential towers, rental buildings that they converted. There are a couple of retrofit projects. There are some religious buildings like churches that they converted. So we have done all of those. And I want to thank Jeff for coming, because every new product, you need the early adopters, people who are just adopting. They're very critical to the success of that business and that product. So that's why I wanted Jeff to be here, because when you have someone looking at your certification, looking at your testing, and you have large GCs like Elaston going through all the evaluation for many, many months, and they say, yes, this is a product that we can qualify to put on our buildings, all of a sudden we have a thumbs up from credible institutions that are saying, yes, I can use it. And these are new product, and construction is not set up for new materials.
Never.
It's not designed for it.
Especially in Canada.
And I actually understand the whole process. We have been doing it, as I said, for 20 years. If I have a building, $100 million, I'm investing into a large commercial project, and I have to risk 5 million or 10 million on a new product. You have to balance these two. Like, why would I take a chance on it? There should be enough incentives. So those are the early projects that we start fulfilling in 2022. And now we're just building momentum to larger and larger airports and hospitals and more universities. And we're just showing that we don't have to repeat the same process at 2,000 years ago or 1,000 years ago. We have enough technology, so there's no shortage of technology. The cost is not an issue. We already calculated the cost. We already solved that equation. The only thing left is just mass production and taking it to market.
Adoption
To the market, yeah.
So, Jeff, when the project was coming on the plate and everybody was advising, looking at options on what we're going to be using, how this was going to be developed. Were they involved? Was Mitrex a part of this conversation from the beginning?
Yeah, they were. I mean, I can go into a little bit about how the project procurement happened. So the project was done with a design build procurement model, and there were teams formed, and the successful team was an Ellis Don team with Diamond Schmidt Architects. Diamond Schmidt had used the product successfully in Winnipeg on several projects, and we have a very aspirational energy standard at the university. We pride ourselves in innovation and leadership and environmental stewardship and sustainability. So with that, we created a competitive but an aggressive target. And Diamond Schmidt used the product in their whole proposal, coordinated through several months to ultimately be the successful proponent. I think we had at the university had an opportunity to, evaluate the proposal holistically, but also with Mitrex as a key component of it. We could see the performance benefits and long-term benefits through the bidding process. So that was exciting to be part of. I think one of the main things is that we're trying to, at the university, we're able to do a lot of construction and also, be innovators. And I think when we're bringing new products like this into our products, we're hoping that, it can have a multiplication effect. Products can get, the industry can get more comfortable with the new products, and ultimately innovative and successful products that have value can become more uniform in the industry. They can be used more. They can, ultimately become the new standard. And so we're excited to, see how the Mitrex product gets implemented on our new project. And, we're looking forward to seeing the finished product, and, happy to share it with you when we get there.
When you guys get there, right? I'm curious about when you guys are doing these kinds of projects. Obviously, there's a cost factor, right? And is that the primary breaking point when you start introducing a new building material? You want to introduce something that's going to be making the structure a lot more sustainable and last longer, but also not absorb as much energy consumption. So do you guys evaluate that? Do you look at that and go, okay, well, listen, if we go to traditional cladding route, this is what we're looking at regarding cost and efficiency of the structure. But if we go with Mitrex here, then we're going to go this route. Is that a factor?
I mean, cost is definitely a factor in construction because there's always a budget for the project. But more importantly, when you have a new product, there is a layer of liability for people who are making the decision, and not a lot of incentive. So if I am working in a company, I have to make a decision on a new product. And if it works well, I'll get a good job. But if it doesn't work, it's on me. Mm-hmm. I selected the product. So that liability needs to be addressed. We need to make sure people who are making decisions, they're 100% comfortable, which is hard in the early stages when you're building a new product. So that's one of the challenges in construction, which is similar in government decision making. If you ask the government, why don't you put a high-speed rail here? Because if it fails, billions of dollars are wasted, government change. But if it works, nobody remember who made a decision. So the incentives are not really in the right place. Those people, they need to be incentivized. Like those, as a system, I'm talking about the organization. We have it in our office too. Like, if our receptionist wants to try something new and all of a sudden it fails, she might be scared of her job, which I always encourage people, no, keep trying and keep failing. I love failure. Failure should be my middle name. But the fact that people don't do it in our society, we have a lack of, we kind of tell everyone be successful. We tell our kids be successful. We don't tell them go fail. And that has to change. We need to change that mindset. That's the nature of, and if we go back as a evolutionary, we are the children of very conservative people. The brave ones, they got eaten by the bears and the lions. So the conservative ones, they survive, and we are their kids. So now all of a sudden in 2024, we are saying, let's be brave, let's take a chance, millions of dollars, and a building that's going to be there for 50 years or 100 years. So
What's the purpose of the building that's being built here?
The purpose of the building is to primarily to educate general physicians. There's a shortage of general physicians in the Eastern GTA, and there was a series of initiatives from the province to enhance the general physicians. And there's a series of other health educational services in the project, everything from physiotherapy to training hospital technicians and nurses. So it's really it's really amazing for our campus to bring medicine for the first time to Scarborough, to UTSC, and we're excited about bringing these services to the community and hopefully kind of add to the serving the area for years to come. I think to a couple of Daniel's points, I just wanted to add that I think that one of the nice things about this project, and I hope that we can continue to support entrepreneurs and innovators like Mitrex, is that they're not forced to compete with a standard cladding product. They're working they're
in a different class,
and they're working with the design team and the contractor to deliver a whole product. And so I think that when you look at the product's sort of contribution to the whole goal, hopefully there's a sense that this is a solution for a broader building and an institutional setting. And if the product is successful, which I'm confident that it will be, I think it can contribute to breaking down some of those barriers. So I hope we can help entrepreneurs and innovators on that journey.
So Daniel, I'd love to get into the science as much as you can, right? Because how it was developed, how it was discovered, how it works, how it's designed, all that stuff. But I mean, okay, is it Mitrex, is it Mitrex, or what's the correct pronunciation?
Let me tell you the original of the name, then you can decide.
Okay, that's even better.
We started with the idea that Mithra is the son of God in Roman empires.
Got it.
And then X is the future. So we put it together. Originally, we registered the company as Mitrex, or Mitrax. But
Yes.
every email we got, every conversation, people were saying Mitrex. And then we called the lawyers and said, let's just change the name. It's better than correcting every single conversation. Yeah.
So it's technically Mitrex.
It's technically Mitrex because it comes from Mithra, the son of...
so it's Mitrex. Okay.
Mitrex, yeah.
All right. No, I was just curious. Okay. Now, if you can share, I guess, the 11 herbs and spices, so to speak, on how this works.
Sure.
So then we can get a better understanding of it, because I've seen it on images, but I still don't completely fully understand it, right?
Sure. I can tell you where we are coming from. We started the R&D close to 2015, 2016 on the product. The first step for me was I stacked a couple of layers of material on my desk, and I'm looking at it. If you're going to go to the first principle, what do they cost as a raw material? How much is plastic? How much is glass? How much is silicone? You put it on a scale and say, okay, so this is not costing a lot. The raw material is not expensive. So why does it cost a lot when you start infusing it together to create the material at the end? So that's started the source of our R&D as a logic of what do we need? We need silicone, we need glass, we need colors, but what type of colors? Now that's a whole series. How do you make the glass colorful while allowing most of the electromagnetic length to pass through the glass? Because our eyes, everything we see is an illusion. Nothing is real. Everything you're looking at is basically a reflection, part of electromagnetic field being reflected. If I can control that part, if we know the green is at 600 nanometer and I can reflect from 6 to 700, I'm going to see green. But energy is not there. There's a variety of, electromagnetic field. It starts from, it goes up to 1200, from 0 to 1200. Most of the energy is in the visible light. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we developed as a species to see the most energetic part of it, because there's a lot of energy. So now think about this. When in the summer you go out, it's extremely hot. Go and touch the leaves on the trees.
It's warm. It's hot. Yeah.
They are not as hot as the other materials.
No.
Because you're reflecting all the highest energy part of the sun is being reflected. That's why you see them as green. And this is how nature develops. Otherwise, the leaves, they would burn. If you have a leaf, if you have a cactus in the desert, they should be burning. But they evolve in a way to reflect the part of the sunlight that was damaging them. That's why the nature is green. So, and same principles is applicable to our product. We basically learned a lot of it from nature, a lot of reflection. The butterfly effect, when you look at a butterfly, the type of reflection they have in their wings. We looked at the leaves, the green, the whole spectrum, and how do we reflect them inside the glass. And that was the source of the R&D, so we can control which part is being reflected and which one can pass through. The section that is passing through the glass now is hitting the semiconductor layer. There is another layer just under the glass. That's converting it to a DC power. From there forward, now you just have a standard solar from there.
You're just absorbing energy at that point.
So that's one equation. Making a cute 4-inch by 4-inch piece in the lab is really cute, but it doesn't work for construction. Now, how much does it cost really to manufacture it at the mass scale? Making sure it passes all the certification, testing, durabilities, Then we had to design a production line, a completely unique and custom production line that can actually produce this at a mass scale.
And each panel is connected to the next panel?
Each panel becomes like a battery. As soon as it goes on the wall, you have 2 wires coming up, positive, negative, and just like a battery. From there, you have a voltage, you have amp. Now, how you connect the panels together, there are many ways. And we keep coming up with new solutions. We are launching another product this year. We are eliminating the wiring. We are going to a wireless format. So all that positive, negative could be eliminated in a different, application. So it's a work in progress. We are never done. We say this is it. We're going to do this for the next 50 years. That's never going to happen.
No, because it can evolve. I'm just curious on how much of it is being reflected and how much of it is being absorbed. Is it a 50-50 or is it a different ratio?
No, it's less than 50. So we don't need to deflect. We don't need to bounce 50% of the energy. We try to minimize it. Sometimes 5%, sometimes 7%, 10%. Depends on the colors.
And so the only thing that changes your final appearance of it is just the material that you're using ahead of the semiconductor.
Yeah.
And that gives you the options of whatever you want to do. So when you get an architect or designer and they're looking at the structure, is it almost limitless on what we can create color-wise and texture-wise?
Yeah, we have thousands of colors now. We have developed thousands of colors. But we also do custom colors. Like this project has 4 or 5 custom designed colors for it. Because here's the thing, when you have a building, there is an energy requirement. We have to make sure we can produce enough energy as per requirement, also satisfy the architect on the visual. So these two, they need to balance each other.
So cost-wise now, if we were to go to a traditional cladding system, a panelization system versus your system, are we twice the cost here? But then there's also the back end on regarding, energy consumption.
No, we are not twice the cost. We are maybe 20% higher than comparable materials.
Wow.
My goal is by 2030, we have a plywood type of material that costs the same as plywood. So you can buy the plywood Mitrex, which is not plywood, but it's producing electricity.
But you would be able to use it as a sheathing material.
You can cut it. You can cut it. We already have done it in the
amazing.
lab.
Have you really? You've tested that? You can.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah. So now we are. Think about this. 2025. We started Mitrex idea 2015. So today we are in the same place for that. 10 years from now, we need manufacturing plants. It takes many years for a product to come out.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but everything is produced here.
Yes, in Etobicoke, Ontario, Canada.
And then it's shipped globally, and it's also shipped across Canada.
Yeah, we have projects in Taiwan, in Dubai, in US, many in Canada. Yeah.
Why haven't we not heard so much more about this? I was fascinated when I was introduced. There was a whole Kevin Bacon thing going on. There was a lot of people that connected me to, I forgot her name now. I totally forgot. But Paula's assistant, I guess, or Paula's, can't remember. I'm sorry.
Terry.
That's it. Yeah. Now Terry's going to hate me because I spoke to her about it. But yeah, so I was connected to her by another colleague of mine who's been on the show several times. And then he was telling me about it. And then I was fascinated. And my first question was, why haven't I heard about this yet? And I guess it's just because it's ever evolving, developing, getting it out there.
Exactly. These are the earliest years. Like commercial projects takes 2 years of planning. by the time our material goes on a building from the initial concept to final installation, it's like 3 to 4 years. So you're going to hear about us a lot more this year and next year, because now our projects are coming out of large projects. We have done many smaller projects, but many REITs and many universities, hopefully they will adopt and they will implement this more. So this is the early stage.
So just a couple of comments.
Sure.
Is one of the nice things about the product and our project is that, we do use, worldwide architecture firms. And so Diamond Schmidt is partnering with MVDRV, and they can take the product to Europe. So like it's exciting to have, all these people experience the project, touch it, and ultimately, hopefully, buy into the product if it's successful and take it to new places. And I just to comment on the aesthetics, like I think there's an amazing architectural expression to this project. I can speak to how compelling the concept was from a design perspective, but how the product really adds to it. So it was novel in meeting our energy target, but it also didn't detract at all, only enhanced the sort of the compelling nature and the inviting nature of the project. It has a very prominent site. It's at the corner of Morningside and Military Trail. And it's just adjacent to the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre. So we'll see a lot of traffic, both from commuters coming off of the 401, people, entering into our campus, and, community and events through, attending the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre. So we're hoping, happy to share some of the success stories, with those folks as they, enter the campus and, kind of tell the story.
I'm curious about boots on the ground, because as you mentioned earlier, construction is not always friendly to innovation and new products. And there's a lot of resistance coming on from tradespeople that are actually handling material and having to install it. Has it been a challenge for them to understand the purpose behind your product?
No, we designed it from the get-go ready for construction site. We know this is not a lab, this is not a test, this is actual construction material. It needs to be handled like a construction material. And having innovative and forward-thinking clients like U of D is really critical to make this product successful. Because the trade also that are going to these projects, they are sophisticated trades, they have handled many materials, they're familiar with this type of construction. So now we have a innovative product with high-level trades that they know how to handle it. Put it all together, I'm sure we will do many, many more of these buildings for U of D down the road. And that cannot be achieved if the material is not easy to install. The speed of installation, quality of the installation.
Agree. Yeah.
That's all part of the success. We cannot compromise any of the layers. It's from design, manufacturing to final installation. They all have to be seamlessly happening at the same time.
Now, it's not fair to call this a solar panel. It's not a solar panel, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a solar panel, but if you want to call it as a concept of solar panel, it's similar to solar panel.
It's part of the same family, so to speak,
of solar
I guess.
panels, yeah.
But so my question to that is, will it reduce its efficiency over time? Because solar panels are notorious for that, right? They have a lifespan.
I think there's a misconception, there's a misunderstanding about solar panels. There is a warranty on solar panels, and then there's actual life. So solar panels, when you buy them, the manufacturer will say, I will guarantee this panel will work for the next 25 years at minimum of 90% efficiency.
Okay.
That's just a guarantee.
Yeah.
But in our lab testing, our panels are going to do that for 50 years, for 60 years. Obviously, you don't put the limit on your warranty. There's no need for it. You just put 25 years, 90%, 80%, and customers are happy. And what are we competing with? Other materials that have zero efficiency. So if the ROI and the return on investment is a year or 2 years or 3 years, even if it doesn't work, you have a beautiful cladding at the worst case scenario.
Yeah, no, it's true. And then one interesting thing that Terry said when I was talking to her was, obviously you're dealing with structures in dense population areas like Toronto. You may not get the sun exposure on certain sides of the structure, but she was saying that it still works effectively on bounce, like on sun, just in the area.
So north elevation, for example, gets no sun. but produces 60% of the energy as a south elevation. And that just comes from reflection, from earth, from buildings.
Reflection. Ambient
light, yeah.
That's amazing. Like, I just don't understand how. Okay. And then eventually, is the goal to get it into low rise, or is it just strictly going to focus on high rise?
No, we have it for any commercial building. So we have different lines of products right now. We have Elite Facade, which is for retrofit. Mainly for retrofit, comes in a standard size and colors. Then we have our Pro series, which comes in many colors and many sizes. Then we have a Custom Pro that we customize the colors and sizes and geometric shapes. So that gets more complicated. Other than residential market, which we are intentionally avoiding, and roofing market, which we are not ready for it, every other type of building, commercials and high-rise residentials, they are qualified.
Do you see possibly in the future one day that a brick could be Mitrex?
We have built brick walls. We actually have a 4,000 square feet mock-up for it. Yeah, we
Of a single brick that's compiled.
It's assembled bricks and it's producing electricity, but we shelved the idea for now because the teeth connection in the brick and the way you layer them together, it's hard to achieve with our production line.
So it'd be more of a panelized brick system.
Exactly, it's a panelized with the straight joints that you will see between them. It's not the most beautiful look. Plus, we don't want to imitate other materials. We don't want to imitate too much of the wood and the marble and the granite. Like, we do a little bit of it, but we don't want to imitate. We want to have our own character and be unique to what we are.
So what other benefits are coming from the product? And I guess what other goals was, that particular project? What were they trying to achieve with the product as well too, other than just the absorption of sun and energy? But is it also factoring into other factors in that structure? Is it helping cooling the structure down? Is it helping things differently?
That comes from the assembly of the material, not the facing. So we manufacture the facing, but it does have other effect because we are converting the energy into electricity. Obviously, it's cooler in the summer because the energy is being converted. So organically, it will help. But for this project, we had over 400,000 kilowatt hour requirement in a year. And that's a huge, Jeff can talk more about the usage of the building and the energy generation. It's going directly into the building. Now, if you have EV chargers, the building consumption itself, the sky's the limit. Now you have electricity.
You're not using any electricity.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20% of the energy consumption or utility consumption of the building throughout the year. So it's compelling. I mean, I think that this is a pretty intensive facility. It has laboratories. It has
it's drawing a lot of power.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely an intensive use. And so I think that, it is solving a compelling problem for the university for sure.
I'm still fascinated. I'm still wrapped around the whole idea of plywood, of just you're taking construction materials and you're giving it another purpose, making it a primary purpose.
I believe we always have to look at everything from customer perspective. Because if I look at my own manufacturing limitation and design team and everything else, I'm never going to have a great product for our consumers. The best product in the world right now is 2x4, 2x6 and plywood. So how do we get there? How do we create the same? We don't want to optimize it. We really want to eliminate a lot of layers. And it's doable. There's nothing preventing us from getting there. It's just we want to do it, and there are customers who will be buying it. So,
is it possible to create a structure where you're not on the grid? You're self-sustained by this product itself, or many products are being used?
Yeah, you can design a building. Depends on the usage of the building and the consumption and how you design it. You can be 100% connected to the batteries. You can be 100% just relying as a off-the-grid building.
And how do we deal with Mother Nature when we start getting extreme cold temps and shorter days? Does it factor in? We're storing power.
I mean, semiconductors, they love cold. So it's actually great for them. When we have -40 and sunshine, it's perfect. But the thing is about the latitude, we are in a higher part. As we go south, we get more, sunlight. So there are some areas that gives you better returns and more power. But being vertical, eliminate the cleaning. Solar panels on a roof, typically when it snows, you have to just wait until the snow melts. These ones, they don't need melting. They are vertical. We have a self-cleaning layer on top, so every time it rains, every time the wind blows, they just get cleaner and better. And that's one of our selling features in Dubai, like countries like Dubai and Saudi. They have sandstorms, they have a lot of dust, and this product actually solves a lot of their issues.
It's not damaged anything at all from the sandstorms?
No, these are tempered layers of glass, just like your windows. Imagine your windows, but better, because they're opaque, now we can do more work into them.
So you mentioned other products that you're also working on, and can you share anything that's coming down this year and next year?
Yeah, so our Elite facade, which is our renovation and retrofit for projects, it's a unitized system, which means you don't see wiring. We're kind of having all the wires hidden into the system. One of our challenges to take the product to the next level was, how do we get people with no electrical understanding to use the product? So we came up with this idea that these panels, you can plug them, it's a plug and play, anywhere within the system we designed. Anywhere that you like, you can just plug them. It's smart enough to understand this panel is going to be connected to this inverter, there's a computer inside, and they're all talking to each other. So think about the wall, the size of a wall behind you, that you get 10, 12 panels, and you can plug them anywhere, any shape.
You're just plugging them into a regular 15 amp receptacle?
Just plug it. There's a power bar we supply. You plug it there. And at the end, you have one cable that either you connect to another system just like this, or your electrician will now connect it to the panel. So that's one step we went forward. But the next step is eliminating even the plug. So we don't need the plug. If you have AC power, we can just use wireless, and we can just go just like any other wireless system.
Have you already tackled projects where you've recladded them with your product?
Yes, we have a couple of them on the go right now. In Edmonton, we have, I think, 2. There's a hospital in Edmonton. There is a residential tower in Edmonton and Calgary. They're all getting retrofitted right now. Plus in Toronto, we have done.
Wow. And then I guess the electricians, well, it doesn't change anything for that trade. It's no different than a fixture that they're installing, they're working with.
These projects, we are deeply involved. We are managing the project. We have our electrician, we have our engineers on site to make sure as I said, these are early stages of all these projects. But we are trying to simplify the process of wiring, and the goal is we put the panel on the wall and we get the electricity. So all these steps, they need to be just simplified or eliminated.
And then the process, you guys haven't started the project, have you?
Yeah, we have. It's the superstructure is complete, and we're starting to enclose the building now. So I think probably
completion expectation.
The completion will be towards the summer of 2026. So I think I think we'll see some of these products going up over the summer. So it's exciting.
No, I guess you guys come along as well and do data. You're doing data dumps, are you not? Are you paying attention to the structure and what it's doing, and that the panels are all working correctly, and that the absorption is there?
Yeah, there's a monitoring app at the end. Once everything is connected, then we can monitor the system.
You guys have an app for all these cladding panels?
Yes, we have to monitor them. So once these are all connected,
each panel?
No. Sometimes they're by group, sometimes individual panel. Depends on how we design the system. So if you put a couple of panels in series, it becomes one string. So that string, you can monitor 6 panels at a time. Or you can simplify it, because no one needs to know single panel. You need to know each elevation. So then you can just monitor your elevation. You have 4, 5, 6 elevations, your roof. They all come separately, and then you can display them on a monitor. We have done it in the lobbies, that at the end, everything is displayed in the lobby as people, they're walking or they're charging their car. They can see the source.
Can you make the panels illuminate?
We are doing one. I shouldn't be talking about it. We are doing one.
I'm just throwing stuff out because I'm thinking if you're drawing power in.
We are doing one for a major automaker right now. It's a building for them, and the panels, they have illumination. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I thought more pedestrian. I thought like a kind of a alleyway or an entrance or something like that. And you're instead of having traditional fixtures or a recessed lighting, this is the illuminating factor for entry into a building.
It's just like any other new material. Once it gets adopted, then the branches and ideas that we can add to it.
It's creative at that point.
Then it comes out. But right now, it's just getting these projects perfectly done on the wall, connecting it to the grid and showing that it works. honestly, one of the biggest challenges we have, we talk about our product with many customers, they just don't believe it works. They just said like, it's too
Well, I
good to
believe
be
it
true.
works. I'm still just wrapping my head around it.
No, I know, but they're saying it's just too good to be true. Like, if this is such a great product, it should be on every single building.
It
I
eventually
agree.
will.
It will be. It's just, that takes time.
Has our government been very friendly and wanting to do all this? Have they been open about it?
Let's not talk about government.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
They have done zero for us.
It makes sense for me. Like, it's a toolbox that's definitely needed on a job site.
Yeah, they talked about this. They came to our office, but realistically, just the U.S. government, they offered us way more than Canadian. And I told our government, I said, if you guys don't do anything about this, forget about Mitrex, Daniel. We will figure this out. But many other companies, they're going to suffer because you're just not supporting.
But I guess the Ellis Dons and the PCLs and the big players out there, they're very interested in it.
Yes. We need innovative thinkers just like, U of T. And these are companies that they actually think and they care about innovation.
Because it's the future. It's basically what we're going to need to do anyway, right?
Yeah.
We can't continue building the same way. We have to be a lot more efficient about it.
Well, we told the government, we told the ministers and everyone, we said we created 100, 200 jobs in Ontario. Zero cost to the government. We don't
I was
expect
fascinated by that. It's here. It's in our own backyard.
I said, we never asked you guys for anything. All we need is just take the name out, put it on your own building. You have the agenda for 2050, 2030, all these green initiatives. We send them a proposal. We said, if you change 10 buildings, retrofit 10 government buildings a year, you will hit your tree target. They have a tree target of 2 billion trees to be planted. So you will hit that target by 2035. Equivalent of that many trees planted, 2 billion trees planted. Just do a couple of buildings a year, retrofit, which you are retrofitting anyway. Just use the product. But it's a big organization, I understand. So I'm hoping, this year, next year, they start.
Well, with more projects like this one and then another one. And can you still use projects that are not in Canada as part of your case study? I assume you should be able to.
Yeah, we have projects coming up in New York, in Florida, Denver, many in California, in San Diego. Yeah.
Wow. What else do I want to know that you can share? Can I come to the factory?
Yeah. We
I'd love
actually
to
have a video of the factory too. I can,
on YouTube?
Yeah, we can
send me the link and I'll include it in the show notes there so people can watch it.
You can actually see a tour, but you're more than, welcome to come and see the.
I won't take pictures or video or anything like that. I'll just take notes.
We'll take your phone before you come.
Won't be the first time. No, I'm fascinated by it. And then I guess, are you seeing an embrace going on from the younger people that are coming into construction? Are they easily looking at this going, this is an amazing product. We need to embrace this and work with this and plan for the future with this?
Yeah, we have a training program. We work with many new installers who are getting into the installation and cladding. This is something, once they know how to install it and once they're comfortable and they have done projects, this will give them a head start and, a leap compared to people who don't know how to install BIPV, because this is something that will grow just like EV cars. Every building is going to have EV cars in it. Eventually, these buildings are not designed to draw that much power from the grid. None of them are designed. But when it comes to retrofit, now, if I'm retrofitting and renovating a tower, like a residential tower, and I'm putting Mitrex, now I can easily add EVs too. So it opens up doors, to buildings that they don't have an option.
So earlier you mentioned that you guys weren't touching roofing. Is there a particular reason? Is it bitumen in particular, or is it just
laws of physics?
So you're going back to the ease of a vertical plane instead of a horizontal plane.
The cost, and Tesla tried. Many other companies, they tried to.
Yeah, I remember that announcement.
And the reason they all fail is there's just limitation. Like there's a cost limitation in manufacturing. Roofing is cheap; it's not expensive. The roof on my house is like $5 per square foot, maybe, or $2 per square foot. You can't build a solar or BIPV product at that cost. You're always going to be at $50, $60. That's what Tesla was selling at $60. So it becomes limited, very limited group of people with curiosity and money, basically.
Unless it's a structure where there are some structures, I guess, in New York. I don't know if we have one here in Toronto that would have a curved or angled facade that becomes its roof, right?
Yeah.
Then it would still work on that application.
That's right. Yeah, those are kind of a more complex, unique buildings, and a lot of our projects are now falls in that category. Like especially in Dubai and the GCC area, a lot of their buildings are just unique, so it makes sense to implement the product. But those are not going to make a difference. Like when I started Mitrex, the idea wasn't just to build a cool product and make some money. It was how do we change the way we build? How do I take my kids in 30 years and show them? Like me and Jeff, I don't want to speak on behalf of Jeff, but if we go out in 30 years, we want to go to that building and we say, look, we did this 30 years ago when no one was doing it. That's the kind of a message, that gives me more satisfaction than just building another product or another business.
I haven't seen any drawings or the structure or whatever. What can you describe it?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit crystal-like.
Come a little closer, yeah.
It's kind of a bit crystal-like, and it's really kind of the design concept is kind of to have an illuminated core. So almost like a rock that's separating, there's an illuminated core that is inviting people into this sort of health enriching environment. And I think that you can really see how the product is utilized in the other thing about the design is there are pitched walls. So I think the product works well with the form factor of the building, and the building has more surfaces than just vertical and horizontal, and so I think it's a really cool application of the product, kind of is synergizing with the design of the building.
What was the final selection for cladding? What was the material? What was the color?
The color is it's kind of a series of light grays. And then there is some yellow and golden colors to accent. And I think we'll share with you the link and some images.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'm curious about it. Yeah. So it's not a typical looking structure.
It has absolutely not. No, it's lovely.
I like seeing projects like that, especially in Toronto. Like, I don't think we're brave enough here. I think we need to be a lot more challenging on what we do for architecture, because I'm not a particular fan of our skyline. It just almost looks like I was photoshopped in the early days, just repeat, cut and paste, right? There's nothing unique standing out. That's why I'm fascinated when I hear about products like this. I want to see that structure and learn from it and see what the applications are. But you're 100% right. Where can the next generation take it? That's what's really key.
Yeah.
It's been found. Now run with it. That's the idea behind it, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. No, this is something that, we're just building the first Lego pieces, but when it comes to renovation, and then we have a railing product that goes on the balcony railing, similar to our cladding. But
what do you mean a railing product? The actual railing itself, or the glass railing?
It's like a panel railing. It's an opaque panel railing. We have it semi-transparent. We have it as transparent that you can build the railing. We have done a project, the project that you mentioned with Terry. She was involved in that project too, which was a retrofit with the railing. So once these things, they come out and we start implementing, the sky is the limit. Where else can we put this?
So the actual railing panel itself is absorbing energy and storing it.
And then we are working with healthy infrastructure this year and next year to do a highway noise barrier for the highways that are actually solar. The first mock-up would be about 1 kilometer long, and then we will go to longer ones.
Yeah, I think about those walls on the Gardner Expressway.
They're ugly. They're horrible looking. Yours are going to be a lot better looking, no?
I hope so. When I came to Canada, my first impression, I got out of Pearson, we came to the highway, was how ugly is this highway? Like, why is it so ugly? Why is the guardrail so, why doesn't it look better? This is supposed to be a first world.
Botox.
So my goal is, first thing is to change that guardrail once you leave, Pearson, as soon as I get a chance.
When is that going to happen?
I'm hoping this year or early next year, we do the first mock-up, which is like 1 kilometer. We have done a smaller mock-ups with them, developed the product, going through testing. So we're at the final stage.
With the idea that the energy that you're absorbing there is going to be used for the illumination on the highway?
Anything they want to do. The Ministry of Transportation, they have many usage for electricity. So this highway can feed to any area that they want to use it. Could be for lighting, could be for any other usage.
Have you done that? Have you actually applied that in a different country?
No, this is the first time we're doing it. Everything we do first, we do it here in Canada. We want to make sure this is our home. We want to make sure it's done here, shown here, then we can take it to other countries.
But I don't want to get into the politics of things, but it doesn't seem like we're very engaging in trying this, because if I was in charge of that, I'd be like, yes. What else? What other idea do you have? Yes.
We're going to keep pushing, We're going to keep pushing until they engage, everybody. Like, we are not going to stop. I mean, generally speaking, I don't know anything else to do. This is my life. So I'm not a dentist. I'm not a doctor. This is what I do. And I'll make sure it gets to the finish line. It's going to take me 5 years or 10 years. It's going to happen.
How big is the facility? How many employees do you have working there?
It's about a couple of acres. We have a couple of... The main plant is just one large plant. It's like 100,000 square feet.
Employee size-wise?
On site in the office is about 100, and then we have close to that outside too.
So I guess once this project's completed, then you're going to have a lot more data to start proposing on other projects, but you're already proposing on other projects.
We are proposing to other projects, but with this type of unique buildings, this building, first of all, is beautiful. The design is amazing. So once this is done and connected, it gives us a lot more credibility. So now we can go to many other people, tell them, look, I have a joke about this, that nobody wants to be first, nobody wants to be second. So every time we talk to someone, they want to be first, but they're saying, oh, we are first, so we want to be second, but they don't want to be second. So we are very happy that, U of T is first, and they are doing it, and everyone else is just going to follow.
Now, does this fall, I don't know if that structure, is it looking to get LEED certified? Or does this Okay, all right. Yeah. So this contributes to LEED.
Huge, yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Probably excels LEED way beyond what the normal LEED is.
Yeah. It has so many criteria in LEED that it's just, yeah.
Anything else I want to know about the building there? Or?
No, I mean, I think we've touched on a lot. I think to Daniel's point, what's exciting about this is all the different participants on this project. I mean, from the bidding and the procurement phase through the execution, these are some of the best subs in the GTA. They're going to be working with this product, and all of those folks are going to sort of get to see it, get to touch it, and carry it on. Our industry is one it's deep, it's immense. People transition in their careers, they grow, they change, and so I think with some of this change and innovation that's happening, it's exciting when it kind of multiplies and more people get to experience the product and sort of remove some of the apprehension.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of credit goes to, as Jeff mentioned, to the team, the GC Alastan, and the architect, the Diamond Schmidt, and the European partner. There was a lot of information from architectural side and our side that had to go to GC. They need to put it into their schedule. They need to digest it. They need to understand it. A lot goes to their planning and execution. So very critical for the GCs. Not everyone can pull this off on such a massive scale on a whole building. So a lot of credit goes to that team.
And this particular building is still being wired, right? It's still having connection wires.
Correct, yeah.
So those are critical when you're actually installing it and during construction process. That's all correctly done.
Exactly, yeah. That all needs to be coordinated.
Is there an ease of, if there's a failed or something, is it easy to get to repair it?
We have many layers of testing, but yes, even if at the end we find out one connection is not done, we can go back and just connect it. But as we progress, we have many QC levels. Our electrician, they're checking the wires to make sure nothing get damaged, nothing is, wires are protected.
So would eventually glass panels be Mitrex?
Technically they're glass, but when you look at them, it looks like metal panels or...
But could you use it as windows? Could you use it as...
We have done windows too. We have done glass into the... Yeah, we implement it, but you will see a dark spot, for example, in the window. That's the cell. You will see the cell into the glass, into the IGU or into the curtain walls.
But you could still use it, so it's more square footage, it's more area
Yeah.
on the structure.
The issue with glass is similar to the issue as the roofing. Glass is not expensive material in construction. Once you infuse it with all these technologies, it just becomes too expensive. And the returns are not as great. So we do some glass here and there. Airport sometimes, like a large scale airport. We are working on a couple of airports. But I see a lot more potential in the opaque and the cladding, at least initially, until we figure out a way to lower the cost and simplify the process.
I'm just curious, would you happen to know what's the ratio between cladding and glass on a structure?
Usually 60-40.
60-40.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you're missing out on 40%, but it's not worth it because the 60, cost effective wise, 60 carries to 40.
That's right. So at least, I think baby steps and implementations, and there will be a time that we can have this cost effective approach.
I'm just fascinated by it. I want to see a structure. I actually wouldn't mind seeing it on a job site, just actually getting connected, right?
Yeah.
To see the process of that.
There is an industrial building not far from you. We did not far from here, so we can pass by and see that one.
It's still in construction right now?
No, it's finished, connected,
It's finished?
done. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to take a look at that if it's not too trouble, right?
For sure.
I'm just very curious about seeing it. I believe it. I don't question it at all. There's no reason why. Oh, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? No, it's like you're putting this together so then it will work and it work well.
Well, I'm not shocked if somebody says I don't believe it. There are people who don't believe in EVs. They're saying electric vehicles, they don't work. So it just takes time. There is an adaptation curve to every product. But on our website, we have a list of ongoing and finished projects, which we should update it every couple of months because we keep adding projects to the pipeline.
So you guys are probably looking for the grand opening, the completion and excitement, and then having everybody there and just discuss a lot about the efficiency of it, not necessarily, but you'll still speak about the aesthetic of the building.
Oh yeah.
Because it stands out from what I've been hearing.
100%. And I mean, I think it's going to be a key part of a great facility for the community as well, and I think that's the best part.
Anything else you want to share?
No, I think
I just want to do these 12 questions. I do these 12 questions at the end. I don't know if I gave it to Paula or something like that, but they're fun questions. Don't worry. www.mitrex.com, info@mitrex.com, and 416-907-4277. And sorry, what was the project's name again?
Myrna and Garen. Myrna and Berna Garen Health Sciences Complex.
Is there a website for the project? Or
There
is
is, yes.
On who's would it be on Elliston's or would it be on?
It is on our website.
On your website. Okay. Under the U of T Scarborough campus. Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll just go one by one here on the same questions. A person you guys would trade places with for a day. Anybody you trade places with?
Miley Cyrus. You said fun questions.
It could be anybody. I'm not questioning and I don't judge.
All right.
Okay.
No, seriously.
It could be Miley. Totally, it could be Miley.
Seriously, if I want to trade with someone, I think Mark Andreessen. He's a VC and investor in Silicon Valley. He has really cool ideas and a unique vision on how things work.
Jeff, come a little, or bring the mic closer.
Probably LeBron James.
Guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure?
Red wine.
Me too.
Good. Yeah. Least favorite tool?
Screwdriver.
iPad.
iPad. Biggest risk you guys ever took?
Mine was coming to Canada. Immigration.
That's a tough question. I think public speaking for the first time.
Is it? Gets easier, doesn't it? Best compliment you guys ever got?
You're good to work with.
Best compliment. Usually I get it from my mom, so
So there's a lot of them.
A lot of them, yeah.
A lot of them. Favorite beverage?
Coffee.
McDonald's coffee, yeah.
What never fails to make you guys laugh?
My wife.
I was gonna say my youngest daughter. She's like a monkey. Yeah.
She's funny?
She's funny. Yeah.
Worst piece of advice you guys ever got?
Take the safe road.
Very similar. Mine was focus on your expenses, not your income. And once I did the opposite, things changed.
What profession other than your own would you guys like to attempt one day?
I like genetics. I always like genetics. So if I was born again and I had to choose a different path, maybe genetics. Yeah.
Doctor.
Favorite curse word? We don't have to swear if you guys don't want to swear.
Can we say anything we want?
You can say anything you want. This is a construction life.
The typical one. I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You guys don't. I don't want to make you guys uncomfortable. You guys don't want to swear. We've been keeping it clean. I don't want Paul or anybody or Terry get upset or whatever. Good. Or you want to share?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Favorite vehicle? Any mode of transportation?
Bicycle.
Mine is Tesla. I love Teslas.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you guys like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
You treated people well.
What took you so long?
Gentlemen, thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much, Daniel. I really appreciate it. I'm fascinated by this. I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I want to see it grow really well, especially here in Canada, in our own backyard. It's so important.
No, thanks for having me. And again, thanks for Jeff for coming here.
Yeah,
and
making the time.
giving us the chance to work on this project. So we're looking forward to hopefully meet you again and this time talk about the success of the project and the next project
That would be
you're
great.
working
Come
on.
back
Yeah.
for it, for sure.
Sure, yeah.
See the update. And then we'll connect after, and we'll share the links too so other people can get more insight on this. And then if they have any questions, they can always reach out to you.
For sure.
That's
sure.
it.
All right.
Okay. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much, guys. Thank you.
you.